Well, we continue to dig deeper into the deadly police shooting of Daunte Wright, a black man, during a traffic stop in Minnesota. The police department says the shooting appears to be accidental, and the officer, Kimberly Potter, meant to grab her taser and not her gun. This has many people asking how could a veteran police officer mistake the two? If it was in fact a mistake, can Potter be prosecuted for Wright's death? And in the bigger picture of things, what type of training do officers in America go through when it comes to reaching for a taser versus a gun in tense situations? Joining us now is Mustafa Tameez, a former consultant with the Department of Homeland Security. Good morning to you, Mustafa. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
I want to start with the most obvious question, and we mentioned it there. How is it possible, in this case, you have an officer who's been on the force for 25 years, who mistakenly, she claims, grabbed her taser instead of her gun? How does that happen?
Well, look, the way the tasers are designed, they're meant to not just weigh different size. Generally, you want to wear it on the other side of your gun. It feels different when you grab it. The trigger mechanism is different. So it's very difficult for an officer to mistake it, using a taser versus using a gun. And a lot is done not just in how it's manufactured and where you wear it, but also an intense amount of training that's given in terms of using tasers. So it is very difficult for officers to mistake it.
Now, that being the case, while it is difficult, this isn't the first time this has happened. This has happened, in fact, a handful of times. What's your reaction to that? I mean, I think a lot of people would be surprised to know that this has happened before.
Well, one of the things that we encounter in police training is over the years, you learn that if you put yourself in a police officer's shoes, you're approaching a car, you have some nervousness, your heart beats a little bit faster, and in those split-second instances, mistakes do happen. There's an ongoing investigation to look at this. I guess what is jarring about this is that when you listen to the body cam audio, the officer says over and over again, taser, 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 and instead shoots the gun, and a reaction after it was just complete surprise. So in essence, an investigation has to be done to really understand what happened. Yeah. It will take some time to do it, but it was a split-second decision.
Yeah, as you mentioned, we're still in the initial stages of this investigation. It appears, at least generally speaking, that couple of things were violated in terms of policy. Generally speaking, let me know if this is correct, you're not supposed to fire off a taser when it can cause collateral damage. In this case, Daunte was in a car, and in fact, after he was hit with the taser, the car rolled off until he crashed. So looking at it from that perspective, even the circumstance, or even firing off a taser into his chest, elaborate on that. In what circumstance is it safe to fire one?
There's detailed protocol in when you use a taser, when you use a gun, how you use handcuffs, how you approach a citizen, especially during a traffic stop. There's a number of violations that you can obviously see. Firing a taser while someone was stopped, and as soon as he released the brake, the car just continued to go, is a danger situation. And then also just how if you look at the dash cam footage, if you look at the footage from the officer, there's a number of things that are questionable in her decision-making process, and all of those things will be, reviewed. I think one thing that's important to understand is this is not a rookie officer. This is a 26-year veteran. So you also have a higher threshold of what you expect a veteran versus someone who's just been in the field for a year. So I think real hard questions have to be asked as to what actually happened that evening.
And my last question here in the last 30 seconds, can an officer, like Officer Wright in this case, be legally prosecuted when she is saying, this was a mistake, I did not mean to fire my gun, I meant to use my taser?
Well, any time where you have use of deadly force, a close range shooting like this, any type of we will have to prove, prosecution will have to prove this was intentional. If it was an accident, then there are lower charges like manslaughter and other things that could be brought to bear. But again, it's early. But if people are wondering, can someone be prosecuted? The answer is yes.
Okay. All right. Certainly a case the country, right, and the world will keep an eye on. Mustafa, we appreciate your time and your expertise. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Steve, I'll send it over to you.
In the meantime,